Hi everybody, it's Naomi for Turkey Creations, and today I'm creating an art journal page using Art by Marlene products, and I've called it Reach for the Stars. So I'm working in my perfect size Art by Marlene journal, and I've pulled a page out and I will list all the products used below. So here I'm just ripping off some of the collage paper from the Out of This World range, and I'm adhering it on with matte medium, gel matte medium there. And when I decided to do this page, I didn't really have an idea in full. All I knew was I wanted to use the Bug Hotel stamp, and I wanted to create a kind of stepping block podium kind of thing with that. And I wanted to feature some of the birds from the Crazy Bird stamp set. So here I am just drying off that gel medium. And I'm going to come in with some acrylic paints. I'm using my Art by Marlene paintbrush. And I'm starting off with Breeze. And I'm using a dry brush technique here. And because I have a journal page completed on the other side, when I'm brushing at the edge, I'm making sure I brush off the page, not onto the page, so it doesn't go onto the other side. And using a dry brush technique allows the colours to blend, and it keeps liquid off the page as well. But it gives a really nice blend, and because you're not really washing your brush in between, it's a technique I use a lot and I quite like it. So the second colour there was Heaven, and now this is my favourite blue, the Mermaid. And I'm not quite sure if I'm pronouncing this right, but this colour here is Azure. And finishing off with Smurf. And I'm coming back in again with a little bit more Breeze, because it was a lighter colour, it got a little bit lost there. And I'm drying it off with my heat gun and being a good girl and cleaning up as I go. And I'm just trimming off the excess collage paper there. Okay, and I've cut some of that stamping process out there, and here you'll see me just playing with the blocks from the Bug Hotel range. And I didn't realise, but I don't actually have a stamp press or a acrylic block big enough for the Bug Hotel, so good that I need to cut them up anyway, because I just stamped them separately. So I'm just playing around a little bit here with a bit of placement, just to see, where the birds are going to fit and what else I want to do in the background. Yep, and playing again. I've cut one of the bigger bird out, so it looks like I've made a decision possibly. And I've pulled a couple of those stars out from the Crazy Bird stamp set there and put them to the side. But here I've got a stamp from the Mixed Media Play set, and I'm using some Smurf just to go around the edges, just to hide those few little brush strokes, because I've got quite a section of dark colours there using light colours. It just hides those bits, and some of these will be hidden anyway, but then I'm just creating a bit of a wash and putting some splatters over the page, and this just helps create a bit more interest in the background. And again, another stamp from the same set, and I'm using that Azure colour. I kind of thought these squiggly lines, I actually quite like this little stamp, but I just kind of thought it went good with Crazy Birds. And I'm keeping them stamped in the same direction. And again, I'm making a bit of a wash with my paintbrush and just flicking some of that colour on as well. And I'm giving it a bit of a dry shortly. And with the paint splatters, sometimes the water part of that can take a bit to dry. So the pigment's normally on the page by then. So just dabbing off the excess water and with a bit of paper towel, because I'm coming in here with some permanent archival black ink with those stars from that Crazy Bird set. So I needed to make sure my page was dry. And now it looks like finally I've made a decision on where my Bug Hotel pieces are going to sit, and I'm adhering them on with the Art by Marlene sticky glue pen. That's my favourite glue. And that last block wasn't quite straight, so I'm just lucky it was still wet. I could quickly pick it up and move it. Okay, so here I'm just using a bit of the extra pieces that I stamped to do a bit of a colour tester. I didn't want to put it on those pieces on the page without testing it first. So I'm using Tuscan and Desert. And I'm just going to test how they look. So I'm using Tuscan around the edge as the darker colour. And I'm using a bit of water in them, so they're a bit of a wash look. I didn't want it to be full on acrylic because I wanted to see the details of the Bug Hotel. That's the important part of the stamp, so I quite like that. So I've just gone with a thinner brush and I'm outlining the wood or the edge pieces. And now I'm finished that off, and now I'm just fussy cutting my birds, and I'll skip that part for you because that's boring, and let's be honest, no one wants to watch anyone fussy cut. And you'll notice there that I have cut the legs off those two smaller birds, and that was mainly because they were basically sticks. And I didn't want the white piece around because I knew I wouldn't be able to fussy cut them that small. So I'm going to stamp those feet on those guys. And I got that idea of the lovely Tammy, who cuts off her butterfly antennas, which is a fantastic idea, and then draws them back on. So I'm doing the same here with the chicken feet. And now I'm just going to go in with some colours to paint these guys with a bit of a wash as well. So I'm using Happy, Hot Curry, Ho Ho Ho, Peony and Ballet. And I'm not being too particular when I paint these. I will cut it out so you don't have to watch me do the whole process. But I'm using a bit of a wet brush, just so they blend a bit easier. And I always go over my stamps with a thin gel pen just to make the lines stand out, and it means I don't have to worry too much about painting of my stamps. So I'm just using an old credit card and wiping off some of that excess paint so I don't waste it in my junk journal there. And drying my surface. So here I'm using a bit of Mudfight, and I'm just giving a bit of detail to the Bug Hotel, bit of depth, lining the edges, and there's some bolts and little markings in the wood there, so just giving it a bit more interest. And I'm using my finger there to smudge it along, give it a bit of a smudge. But I think that not a colour I use often, the Mudfight, but definitely I can see myself using it again with this cute little stamp. And here I'm just giving a bit of depth to the corners of those now and smudging it all in with my finger. So, yeah, I didn't really have an idea what I was doing. I've just gone with the flow and trusted the process kind of thing. and see how I went and what I liked, and everyone's different. So just go with what you like when you're creating or recreating ideas that you have. So here I'm just going around the edge of my stamps with a Sharpie. And if you're anything like me and you can't quite get too close, or you don't like to get too close, this just covers those little white bits that are stuck on the edge of my fussy cut or dodgy fussy cut images. So you'll notice that I've used cool colours in the background and warm colours for my my birds, and that's just so that they stick out off the page more with contrasting colours. And I've just stamped on my bird's feet there. Now I'm still not decided about those birds. I think because that middle guy was looking up and I didn't want him to be on the edge looking up, so I'm sticking him in the middle with his feet stamped on as well. And it doesn't matter that a bit more than the feet was stamped because they're being glued over the top. So again, using my sticky pen. Nope, not sticking him down yet. Oh, so I'm just highlighting, going over the stamped images with a ballpoint pen just to make them stand out. And there we are. And finally, I'm using the pitch paint to add the dots onto this guy here to create a bit of texture. And I'm covering up those bits where I've gone over the line with a white gel pen. And now I'm gluing them on with my sticky glue, just holding them down where they sit. And I've changed my placement again. And here I wasn't quite sure because that guy's looking up. So I wanted him to be looking up at something. So I've used a bit of lace paint here, and I'm just using that single star stamp just to create a little cluster of stars up there. So he looks like he's stargazing kind of thing. And again, I'm adding a bit of wash to add a bit of white to the page. And drying off. And here I'm just using my white ballpoint gel pen just to add a few highlights to that stamp. Nothing major, giving a bit of a tap with my finger so it's not too liquidy. Yeah, just added a bit more detail to it. And as always, I have a border. I really tried to avoid using my finger because my fingers have been in water too much as my dishwasher broke, so I've got a few cracks on my fingers, but it didn't work with my paintbrush, so I went for the good old trusty finger again to create that black border. And here I'm just using a black Stabilo All pencil, as I always do, to outline my stuck-on images, just so it gives them a bit of a shadow. And I'm using a very small brush with a bit of water to activate that pencil. And apologies, it's going upside down, but I cannot get the angle of these working straight. And I just love these birds. They're so cute. And I've just got looking for a quote now in the Essentials sticky quotes. And I was looking for one that was about skies or stars. So, of course, reach for the stars. Worked perfectly. So I've just stuck that on and outlining that with a black pen. And I'm just adding a little bit more white with a Posca brush pen there. Just needed a little bit more white. Well, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it and you learnt something. Please like my post and subscribe to the channel to see what's next. Thank you.